Tyreek Hill discusses his comments after the regular season finale loss to the New York Jets. Plus, he says the Miami Dolphins don't have enough dogs right now. Also, the Miami Dolphins, they hired a wide receiver coach, so he will be under new coaching. We'll see how it works out for Tyreek this year, if we can get through this offseason, that is. Smash the like button, subscribe if you are new, and let's get into this.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. It's going to be a touchdown again. Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go!
What's good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one on this episode powered by BetUS. Appreciate each and every one of you coming through, as it's a little something nice for your Sunday morning before we get into playoff football. Man, go Jaden Daniels. That's all I can say. Go Jaden Daniels, baby. All right, and this is coming from a guy who used to, I was a Donovan McNabb fan back in the day, but no, Jaden Daniels is that dude right now, so let's go Jaden Daniels. So, shout out to each and every one of you. I want to ask you to do me the favor. It does go a super long way, and it only takes a second, and it costs you nothing. Smash that like button. If you are new, subscribe here as we push towards 17K. Got a huge giveaway planned for 20K. So let's get there, all right? So we got a couple of things to talk about today, and let's start it off and get into it. Tyreek Hill, my good friend in this community, in the place where she popped off here on Phinside The NFL. Shout out to Brittany. She came through with a great clip that went off on social media. Everyone's talking about it. Shout out to her for her Sherlock investigative skills. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Anyways, if you haven't seen the clip, I'll play the clip for you here, and then we will talk about it. All right? So let's get into this.
What y'all had heard at the end of the season is frustration, bro. Bro, I've been winning my whole life, bro. Y'all niggas don't understand, bro. I bust my ass every day. So I deserve to feel like that. I deserve to have some kind of opinion. Shit, y'all just want me to say, oh well, get them next shit. Nah, fuck that. We gotta come back. We gotta put some pressure on motherfuckers. Hey, bro. Y'all gotta fix this shit, bro. Come on. Add some motherfucking dogs in this bitch. I compete. I love to compete, bro. Every day.
So, unfiltered there from Tyreek Hill. He loves to compete. And better listen, when he said what he said in the post-game comments, listen, I said what he said wasn't wrong. It was how he went about it, right? It was all about how he went about it. I said from day one, you weren't wrong, Tyreek. And if you read into his words, it was clear he had an issue with Mike McDaniel. It was clear, right? And we saw earlier against the San Francisco game when he had he had 3 drops that game and 2 of them for a touchdown. What did he say? He basically blamed the drops on Mike McDaniel. He said, I need more reps. It's crazy. If you've been listening to Phinside The NFL the last couple of years, when we had Nick Hicks on and we do our annual, off-season get-together, what we would talk about, one of the things we talked about, remember he said, like, when Tyreek Hill would come training, he wouldn't even, like, stretch. He would just, like, put on his cleats and just go. So, you know, but now you hear him, and what is he saying? The San Francisco loss, what's he doing? He's deflecting toward, and I'm not saying he's wrong or right. I'm just saying he's deflecting, and he's basically blaming Mike McDaniel. When you look at the post-game comments that he had after the Jets game, it was evident. You know, he's saying, I miss QB1, man. I miss Tua. Like, and I said, what's he telling you? He's telling you, I get my targets, I get my production, and we have a chance to win with Tua. Without Tua, under Mike McDaniel, I'm not getting my targets, I'm not getting my production, and we're not winning. And then what does he say in that clip? He basically talks about having to push them. He's talking about getting the people above them to get him more dogs on the team. He's not talking about, because, like, let's be real here. You know? Because, again, he's not wrong, especially when we're under the bright lights or in cold weather. You know? Let's be real here. Would a defense full of dogs missed 20-plus tackles against Green Bay? No. An offense full of dogs wouldn't have showed up in Week 14 against the Bills than just to not show up against the Texans and even against the Jets to end the season with Tua out with the season on the line. Who's the only dog we got on special teams? What, Malik? Siran Neal? Siran Neal took a lot of untimely penalties this year. Jake Bailey was hit or miss. I mean, I guess you could make his case for Sanders. He was a dog when he was kicking outside 50 yards. But, you know, even with extra points at times, he was spotty this season. You know? And, like, let's go back to the offense. You know? Tua in the offense, lights out in Week 14 against the Bills. The offense, especially Tua, don't show up and aren't dogs in Houston when we needed that win. Right? Just like Tua put up over 300 yards. If the defense would have been dogs in Green Bay and not missed 20 tackles, we could have won both of those games. If either of the side had the dogs they should have had. Because let's talk about, he's not wrong, man. I'm telling you right now, he's not wrong. But it all starts at the top. It all starts at the top. But let's, first of all, before we get into that, let's do a dog count, all right? Who do we got last year on the roster? Calais Campbell's a dog. Jordan Brooks is a dog. Shout out to him. He got wrist surgery. He's dealing with that. Zach Sealer's a dog, so that's 3. Achan's a dog. Jonu's a dog. Chop was a dog. They all played like dogs. You can lock those 6 guys in. Waddle and Armstead can play like dogs, but they ain't never healthy. They got that dog in them, but they're never healthy. Tua showed some dog. He showed that dog in Week 14 in Buffalo, but then he turned into a puppy against Houston. It goes back to what I've always been saying about Tua. It's not about whether Tua can win in big games. It's about him being consistent and winning in big games. He's shown us he can win big games. He's had epic comebacks. The Ravens must win, clinch playoff games. Dallas Cowboys, game-winning drive led for a touchdown. He's shown us he can win games. He just hasn't shown us he can do it nearly consistently enough. You're doing it at like a 20 to 30% clip. We need you more in the 50 to 60% clip range. You know, like you're just not, you know. So, you know, and he also can't stay healthy. I think, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you right now. I think Jalen Wright's a dog, but McDaniel decided to feed Raheem Mostert and Wilson and Jeff Wilson Jr. by the end of the season way more. I think Ramsey's got that dog in him, but age looked like it was catching up with him in certain wide receiver matchups this season, and he was trailing a lot more than we had seen in recent years, especially a lot more than we saw in year 1 as a Dolphin. I think Welker had that dog in him as a coach because he was a winner. I heard he, you know, behind the scenes, he was tough as nails. He had a certain standard, but y'all sent him packing. He got canned. He took the blame for all of this. When, let's be honest, Tyreek had, 14 drops in 23? I think he was down to, 5 or 6 this year? you know? But I think, again, it all starts at the top, like I just mentioned before we went in to started naming those guys. You know, let me speak specifically to a group of Dolphin fans because I know they exist. I've seen them on X mainly. All of those who wanted Mike Vrabel. Let me ask you this. What do you think Mike Vrabel would have said in a must-win game against the Jets if Tua said, I'm good to go, let me play, but the training staff said there's a potential risk of further injury? This is football. Not saying it's right, but you know what Mike Vrabel would have said? Go in there. Go get it done. Give him the shot. You know that's exactly what would have happened. You know that is exactly what would have happened. That's what would have went down. Yeah, there's certain coaches that'll they'll take the player over over the coaching staff. He tells me he's fine. He tells me he's good to go. Go. Now, are they worried about the NFL because of the NFL's influence on the concussion thing? Maybe. But, hey, this is football. You needed to win. Now, it wouldn't have mattered in the end, but still. I think if you would have had a tougher-minded coach, he would have been out there. Now, Flores, he was telling Flores, I'm good to go, and the training staff was clearing him, and Flores was benching him for that Ravens game in prime time. And it took Flores golfing to send a message to Greer and Ross to say to Flores, hey, what the hell are you doing? This kid said he's good to go. See, that's the thing. I think if he told Greer, Ross, and whoever the head coach was, I'm good to go, and that, I think then it would have been a meeting of the minds, and that head coach probably would have said, hey, listen, we need this win. He's telling us he's good to go. You got to take the players in, but because Vrabel's a former player and stuff. I use him. That's why I use him primarily in that example. I think Bill Belichick, if he would have said I got to go, Bill Belichick probably would have said let's go because it means making the playoffs. And I think it starts at the top, but when you get to the on-field product, I do think the mentality starts in the trenches where defensively, you do have a good foundation with Zach Sealer and Chop. And Chubb and Phillips are coming back. The problem was Chubb and Phillips weren't gone, but now Calais is gone. But, I think you need another nasty DT. That's why I think the Mason Grahams, the Kevin Grants, the Mason Grahams, and as well as, Walter Nolan, the Kenneth Grants, not Kevin, I said Kevin, but the Kenneth Grants. The Walter Nolans, a guy like later Nazir Stackhouse, but a guy who I'm really high on, once you get outside of Kenneth Grant and once you get outside of Mason Graham. I know everyone likes Walter Nolan there, but a guy I'm really high on is DeLon Walker, right, from Kentucky. I'm really high on him. So I think that's, anyways, my whole point is there's options. And that's just in the draft. We're not talking about just free agency here, right? So, but even it's not a great free agent class, honestly. You look at Tier Tarts out there, Jaron Reed, Calais Campbell's back out there. Levi Onowazurski from Detroit is going to be out there. Milton Williams. It's not really a great class. Osa Odigwazua is going to be out there from Dallas. It's just not going to be that great of a defensive tackle class. That's why the draft class, when you talk about the Mason Grahams, the Kenneth Grants, when you talk about the Walter Nolans, when you talk about, the guys like I like Nazir Stackhouse and DeLon Walker, those are kind of more enticing. But you want to get one of those at 48, ideally. Now, Mason Graham, it's not going to fall to us at 13. Kenneth Grant, it feels like that's slightly too high for Kenneth Grant. You could probably still trade back and get him, but I wouldn't be mad at the pick, But we'll see how it all goes. Definitely a decent defensive tackle class, which we'll talk about more as we get further into draft season. But yeah, you look at you look at that. There's I even think Mo Kamara deserves more of a shot. He was tied for leading pressure in his first start when he was against the Colts, and then he never really got much playing time after that. The problem is once you get onto the offensive trenches, Armstead's really your only dog. Brewer has some dog in him, but I think he needs better than Eichenberg and Jones on his right and left to really maximize his potential and utilize him the most. Austin Jackson, he can give you, but depending on who his right guard is, he can give you above average to good play, but he hasn't had that dog in him since USC. Go back to my tackle big board from that draft class. What did I say? Looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. I was not a fan of Austin Jackson when we made the pick. Under Flores and we were running, I kept telling people he's going to bust out. When we got Mike McDaniel, I told everyone he's got very poor man Trent Williams skills, right? He can move in open space, fleet of foot, he's got to grow into his body more and get his anchor better, and he's just got to get his man strength better. But what's a big thing with him? He can't even stay healthy. Same draft class as Tua, and he stays healthy less than Tua does. Let's be honest here. So, and then Armstead doesn't stay healthy. And then you look at Brewer's anchored by Robert Jones and Liam Eichenberg, please. And let's even talk about Tyreek. Tyreek, listen, yeah, Tyreek definitely has that dog in him. But has he had that dog in him in big moments for us? Buffalo, December 2022, right? We should have swept them in 2022. Would-be touchdown, which Miami wins in the end if he makes that play. Trent Sherfield also had a touchdown dropped on that same drive, followed by Boyer allowing a 4th and long to get, what was it, 4th and 17 to get converted, or 3rd and 17 to get converted by Buffalo, and then them to score before halftime against us. But if Tyreek catches that football, we win and we sweep them. Philadelphia, walk-in touchdown, would have tied the game 17-17, October 2023. November 2023, fumble at the KC 31, which led to a touchdown for KC, and a drop at the KC 30, which led to no points on the drive in the first half. I talk about this all the time. Those two plays alone were a 13 to 21 point swing in Kansas City's favor over us. You could literally say Tyreek cost us that game in Germany. Dallas, remember opening drive? Thank God for Jalen Waddle on the next play. Opening drive, first bomb of the game, drops it. Gone for an 80-plus yard touchdown. Thank God for Jalen Waddle on the next play for the long reception. Come on. Baltimore, bobbled back of the end zone touchdown early on before it was a blowout. Would have kept us in it. Buffalo, division on the line now. 3rd and 7. Down 21-14, fourth quarter. Drops the football. Dolphins have to punt. San Fran this year, 2 touchdown passes against the 49ers. I mean, the guy had 14 drops in 2023. So, bro, Tyreek got that dog in him, but has he had that dog in him for the big moments for us? No, you can make a case he hasn't. That's why I always talk about, the 3-headed monster not coming up for us. Tua doesn't come up in some big moments for us. Tyreek doesn't come up in some big moments for us. And the more consistent one in not coming up for big moments between his play calling, his game planning, in-game adjustments, or lack thereof, mainly play calling and personnel usage, though, is Mike McDaniel. One of the 3 have cost us games. 2 of the 3 have cost us games. All 3 of them have cost us games. Like, literally. So, I mean, the old adage is what? Practice what you preach, I guess. I don't know. But, Tyreek definitely got that dog in him. I ain't going to deny that. He got that dog in him. But when the big moments come, now he was good in the playoff game against Kansas City, with the touchdown catch. But other than that, Tyreek Hill was getting jammed at the line and put face first into the turf. You think Justin Jefferson's allowing that to happen? You think Jamar Chase allowing that to happen? Hell, Jalen Waddle didn't let that happen that game. I'm just saying. You know, like, you think Devontae Adams is allowing that to happen? Just saying, bro. So, you know. But he ain't lying. Yeah, we need more dogs on this team. That's why we need Calais Campbell to come back, and we need to add more. And we need to add some through the draft. Why do you... Listen, I'll go back to the developmental quarterback I want. Or the guy I want. The number one I wanted since August, September. Jackson Dart. Why do you think I want Jackson Dart? Look at the dog in that kid, man. Look at the dog in that kid when he sits in the pocket. Look at the moxie that guy. And he walks and talks like it. He got an aura to him. But you can find those at other different positions. Why do you think I wanted Devon Achane and he made my man crush list? Why do you think I wanted Chubb? You could tell. You know? And who they've turned into dogs. I'm just saying. You know, like, there's dogs in this draft, and they're all over the place. Speaking of wide receiver, look at Ricky White at first practice of the East-West Shrine. He's someone I've talked about on this channel. That guy had better quarterback play. He's a big contributor on special teams. He's a great receiver. He's got that dog in him, man. But he just didn't have good quarterback play. He's going to rise, though. But there's dogs everywhere, man. Just go find them. Add them. Because this is what you need to find. You need to have guys that got that edge to them. And it starts in the trenches. Go find me guys that are big, nasty, but can move. They're there. They're always there every year. Right? Kelvin Banks, man. If you're within striking distance of him, trade up and go get him. You know, I told all y'all to get Penei Sewell. I told all y'all to get Tristan Wirfs. I told all y'all to get Creed Humphrey. I told all y'all to get Quinn Miners. I was out ahead of Robert Hunt. I said, yo, add this player. He turned out to be a dog. Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks. One of these guys are within striking distance. Go get them. Jonas Savaianea, go get them. There are dogs in this offensive line. Tyler Booker, go get them. Mason Graham follows you, or you love Kenneth Grant, or DeLon Walker, or Walter Nolan, or you find a dog in the trenches, you're like, go get him defensively. Let's add him. You know? Why do you think I want Ted McMillan? That man's a dog at receiver, and he's the perfect guy to replace Tyreek and complement Waddle and Malik long term. And he's a dog. Go watch him against Travis Hunter. Dog. Will Johnson. I keep saying I want him so bad, but I know he ain't dropping because he's a dog, baby. I'm going to tell you this right now. I want Jackson Dart. I think him and Cam are the biggest dogs at that position in this class. I think Jackson Dart's a bigger dog than Shedeur. And you see it in his play. Go get me dogs, baby. I'm down. Let's go. But I also want the dogs on my team currently to stay healthy and to show up when we need them to. Real talk. And I ain't hating. I'm just stating. All right? Listen, as I mentioned earlier, this episode, it is sponsored by BetUS. And you got the conference championship Sunday slate for you today. Washington at 3 o'clock against the Eagles. And 6:30 p.m., KC and Buffalo. Let's go Washington, KC. You know, I've seen the debate on X. There is not a fiber in my being that will ever cheer for the Buffalo Bills. I would rather watch Mahomes win 20 more Super Bowls. Stop. So, where are you lying here? Right now, you got Washington, the underdog. Buffalo, the slight underdog. Go over to betus.com. Use promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Place your bets. They will match your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Some of the quickest payouts in the industry. 24/7 customer service. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the channel. And sticking with wide receivers, listen, I was going to go live and then I wanted to drop that video about the offense because I had been thinking about that for like a week. So I'll be live on Monday, FYI. But speaking of receivers, something I wanted to talk about was this. The Miami Dolphins, they went ahead and they found the replacement for Wes Welker. Obviously, Robert Prince is the new wide receivers coach. Now, he was in Detroit with Darrell Bevell. So I believe this comes on Darrell Bevell's recommendation. I really do. Anyone who's thinking about Darrell Bevell potentially leaving for the Raiders for Pete Carroll, I don't think that's going to happen because this feels like a strong recommendation. Also, Pete Carroll fired him, but, it does feel like we're good to go. And now special teams is the only one we really got to do and handle here. I don't know what their idea is here because I saw another special teams coach got hired yesterday. So Prince, he has been with the Cowboys the last 3 years. Obviously, he's with the Seahawks, the Lions for 6 years, and the Houston Texans. I mean, you've seen what CeeDee Lamb's done with him. You have seen what Jalen Tolbert's been developed into. Hell, even Kevontae Turpin has done really well with them under Prince. So, we'll see what goes on here, right? He's been a running backs and a tight ends coach and assistant quarterbacks coach for the Atlanta Falcons. He was assistant receivers coach for the Jags earlier on in his stints throughout the NFL. He has some college coaching experience, right? Offensive coordinator at Boise State, receivers coach at Colorado. So, he's got a vast catalog of experience. So, yeah, I'm excited. And another great thing about him, too, is I don't know if you guys had seen this, but in 2024, he actually won the Darryl Drake Memorial Award as NFL Wide Receiver Coach of the Year. The reason why he's not at Dallas and wasn't retained is because Mike McCarthy is gone, right? So he was there with Mike McCarthy, and now Mike McCarthy's gone. So we nabbed him. He's coming over here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this receiving core and where the production gets to. Very, very interesting. So, hey, listen, I'm not going to hate on the hire. You're not going to hear a negative word from me about it at all. I like the hire. I really do, actually, when you look into his background. So, I guess he's probably more of a player's coach, too. And, again, he comes on the recommendation of Darrell Bevell, it seems like. So, that's got my support. Y'all know I've been calling for Darrell Bevell to be the play caller since year one when people thought, what are you, crazy? Mike McDaniel just got here. And now all of you are like, you should be. So, hey, I'm here for the Darrell Bevell show. Let's go. This man has, offensive coordinated a team to a Super Bowl before, win into 2 straight. So I trust the process. You know what I mean? So that's why if we draft a guy like, Jackson Dart, or hey, I like a guy like Kyle McCord who had a really good strong day. We've talked about him here a lot on Phinside The NFL. He had a good first strong day at the East-West Shrine Bowl. I'm down for that. Go draft a guy like Kyle McCord. I've talked about this, or Curtis Rourke I've talked about. There's a lot of options in this draft. I do think there's only 4 quarterbacks that are, I really think there's only, 4 quarterbacks that you take in the first 3 rounds. And that's Cam, Shedeur, Jackson, and Milroe. Quinn Ewers is feels like more of a 4th or 5th guy to me. So, But yeah, I like the day 3 options better, and they're steals. So, but we'll see. Maybe I hope we're just not the team that falls in love with Pinures. My God, my Lord. Thank you all for coming through. Enjoy NFL football today. Like I said earlier, go Jaden Daniels. Go Jaden Daniels. Shout out to all of you. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. And shout out to BetUS for sponsoring this video. And I will be live on Monday. I got a topic we want to talk about. And as the other news breaks, we'll talk about it. All right? So smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. And as always, fins up all day, every day.